Sunday some kind of technology problem. Okay, and we are off. Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. Oh, I know, your governor. I might talk about him tomorrow in my, but there's so much going on. I just have to make sure I have enough time for everything.
I hope you can tell me some good news, like he's gonna, I don't know, get somehow recalled or fall in a hole or something.
Well, I am still looking at his chart, but I will see what I see. So anyway, welcome everyone. This is Celeste Brooks. I'm an astrologer, coach, and intuitive. And today we're going to talk about the Aquarius full moon. So just so everybody, it was in the emails, but this is being broadcast on YouTube. So when we get to the chart hot takes, if you're sharing, just know that it will be there, but yeah, you're welcome to stay on camera or not. And yeah, I like these to be interactive. So if something comes up and I'll try to pause and you can just come off mute and ask a question. I can't monitor the chat at the same time, so I will review the chat. So if you have questions that you don't want to ask at the time or want me to take a look at, you can put them in the chat and I will answer them. You'll get an email early next week with a link to the recording and answers to some of those questions. Okay, so here we go. So if you can't see this screen, my slides, let me know. Okay, so yeah, so I'm entitling this full moon Visioning the Future, because Aquarius is the sign that speaks to the future, speaks to the vision, speaks to how we move with the collective. So I am Celeste Brooks, and I'm a Taurus sun, Aries moon, and Cancer rising. I live in Oakland, California, but I grew up in New Jersey. And just some things and fun facts about me. I absolutely love to read. I've had my nose in a book since I was like 5. I'm a Yelt elite. I really enjoy fine dining and all that, and need to stop with Virgo season tomorrow because my vacationing and summering have impacted my waist size this summer. And I have a stellium in the 11th house, so I really love interacting with groups and yeah. And that's also the house of the coach, and I consider myself a coach as well. And my background is I have my degree in biology from Berkeley, and I also have an MBA. I retired from a 20+ year in corporate sales, marketing, and business development in May, using the moon cycles in order to advance the goals I set for myself forward. So I am so passionate about the moon. I think it's so important. We live in a very solar-based society where it's all about just go, go, go. And the moon cycles allow us to, have goals, push them forward to the full moon, then continue to make some adjustments, but then have this release cycle in the balsamic phase. And so it's just such a beautiful, beautiful way of working. And when you work with the moon cycles, you can really connect more into your decision-making process and your inner voice and that. So anyway, these are my 2 dogs, Sweet Pea and Debo. Sweet Pea is a Capricorn and Debo is a Taurus. I absolutely loved this quote. It so encapsulates the astrology of this full moon. A clear vision backed by definite plans gives you a tremendous feeling of confidence and personal power. It is just so perfect. I can't even, I love it so much. So first, let's just talk about the luminaries and the signs. So we work with the sun because it's the conscious mind. It's our identity, essence, the life force. It really speaks to our outward expression and the ego. And the moon is more internal. It's our subconscious. It's what we can't necessarily see on the surface. It's all about our feelings and intuitions and needs, behaviors. And in mundane astrology, the moon speaks to the people and the sun speaks to like the authority or the leader. So we're going to get into some stuff about world events as well. So the sun, where the light is shining, where it's really clear and easier to see, is in Leo. Leo is a fixed fire sign. It's all about it's ruled by the sun. So it's all about, how do we show up in life to create things that bring us joy and pleasure? Some archetypes are the performer, the child, the actor. It's all about that playful, creative spirit. It can be very dramatic, but it radiates the sign. And every one of us has a Leo house in our chart. And that house is where our sun shines through. Some shadow sides of Leo can be, creating drama, just seeking attention or being egotistical or too bossy. In mundane astrology, Leo rules recreation, entertainment, schools, things like that. And Aquarius is co-ruled by Saturn and Uranus. It's a fixed air sign, air speaking of the intellect. And the big story of 2021 is the square between Saturn and Aquarius and Uranus and Taurus. And it's all about that conflict, squares, or tension between the past or the old or the tradition and new ideas, new insights, new things coming through that we need to make adjustments in order to move forward. So we're all called to release Saturnian boundaries with the new insights we gain in order to move ourselves forward. Aquarius is about the individualist, the rebel, the humanitarian. These are all archetypes you can think of. Aquarius is a sign of extreme. Think about, the humanitarian who, goes somewhere to just help people versus, the rebel who just wants to burn things down just to burn things down. So there's a real nature of extremes with Aquarius. It's a sign of inventiveness. It's an intellectual sign. There's all about, being freedom seeking, yet also there's the potential to be group oriented. One of the shadow sides is being too detached or feeling exiled. It rules social causes, scientific discoveries, things like that. So we have moved 2 weeks ago. We had the new moon in Leo, where we had an invitation to figure out what we wanted to create in our lives for joy and pleasure moving forward in order to share with Aquarius, the audience. And now we are at the full moon. So the sun and the moon are standing as far away apart as possible. They are 180 degrees apart and opposing each other. So what this brings psychologically is the illumination of the wants and the needs. And so all is illuminated. Emotions can run high during a full moon. It's a wonderful time to celebrate any accomplishments that you've made, no matter how small. It's a great time to make your plans public to the people. The moon is fully illuminated. It's also a time, the moon has reached its maximum illumination, and now for the next 2 weeks, it's going to lose its light as it moves back to the next new moon. And so it's a time to release what no longer serves us, what we don't need anymore, as well as forgive ourselves or others for anything we feel that they have, any trespasses or feelings of not accomplishing as much as we'd like to. Time is moving so fast. It's just really hard to keep up. So anyway, I also like to talk about these larger moon cycles. So we know we have the monthly moon cycles, but then we have these 27.25 month cycles where the sun and moon have what's called a hard aspect at a new first quarter, full or last quarter moon every 9 months. And these things tell larger stories in our lives. It's wonderful to work with them intentionally to bring forward like bigger projects for yourself, like whether maybe you want to start a business or start some big home renovation or whatever, something that's going to take longer than, you know, the month or 6 months. These larger cycles are important. And when I saw this one, I thought it was fascinating because it crossed the sign boundaries. So the new moon was in Pisces and the full moon is now in Aquarius. And this full moon is the only one that has is in the sign of Aquarius. The other 3 activations are in Pisces. And the thing that just jumped out at me is that the new moon was at 4 Pisces. 4 Pisces is the degree of the fixed star Fomalhaut, which is the watcher of the south. And this full moon on 29 Aquarius is opposite one of the most famous fixed stars, Regulus, and at 29 Leo. So when there are activations on these fixed stars, we can see they are tied to world events. So we'll get more into that when we get into the mundane astrology. But yeah, it's just fascinating thinking about what's going on now, looking back to that. But think about what started in your own life around February 23rd of 2020. Give yourself a glow of a week or so before and after. For all of us, this is the commencement of, you know, it's about a month before the lockdowns started and things. But if you can think about what was happening for yourself at that time and what became even more illuminated 9 months later in November in relationship to these topics that I just discussed with how we create and how we work with the collective, as well as think about these Piscean themes about more about the dream, more about how merging, more about compassion, forgiveness, things like that. Pisces is also about creation and creativity as well. Okay, so here we go. So this is the chart of this full moon. It is at 29 degrees of Aquarius. It is the last degree of the sign. So the sun is opposite at 29 degrees of Leo and the moon is at 29 degrees of Aquarius. As I mentioned, the sun is conjunct this fixed star of Regulus. People with strong Regulus are often, Regulus is a fixed star that can bring wealth, power, success, and it is opposite the planet of abundance, Jupiter. So how we can use this energy, I feel, is to be like, have a real feelings of confidence and being cheerful. Jupiter is the cosmic Santa. Lean into that, as well as lean into your leadership qualities with the sun being in Leo. Leader, how are you leading in your own life? Also, with this opposition, think about reaching out to your mentors perhaps this week and checking in, or setting up some kind of meeting, because there is this desire to bestow good things on others. And the moon is conjunct Jupiter. So just internally as well, this can bring feelings of happiness, abundance, really can help you connect to your emotionally to your big dreams and your visions that you want to bring forward. So I think it's really good to take time to just try to think, even if you're going through really tough, difficult times, try to connect into this joyful energy today and tomorrow with the full moon. And when you look at this, and I encourage everyone to go look at the full moon because it is so close to Earth. I saw it last night and I was just in awe, and try to connect into that joy with it. And as I mentioned, they are both at the last degree of the sign, which is called the anaretic degree. And so whenever a planet is at, or a point is at an anaretic degree, there is this like intense energy to like wrap up the work of the sign. So you may be feeling internally like this real need to like finish your plans, finish what you tried to get started this month, real need to create or have fun or do the Leo things or the Aquarius things. Over the next day, just stay present with your energy and notice what is happening. You can use this positively to create the joy and vision the future, but we need to make the space. Life can be moving so quickly at times that we can miss these opportunities if we're not present. So, and another thing about this is that Mercury and Mars are conjunct in the sign of Virgo. So I love this in terms of how there is this opportunity for Leo, like the just thinking about the joy and the creativity, but Virgo gives the ability to actually do the work that of the vision of the joy. So Virgo is the chop wood carry water sign about, making the list, doing the tasks, just taking things step by step. And Mars, how we take action in the world, and Mercury, how we think and communicate. The two of them coming together is really an opportunity to like move things forward. And they are in what's called a trine to Uranus, the planet of breakthroughs, sudden insights, things like that. So there is a real opportunity to get like all these brilliant ideas and downloads and break through restrictions that you had seen in your life. And so I myself have noticed just like things are coming in so quickly, like I have to write everything down and making adjustments to former plans. One of the big things that happened over this last, even since July 1st, when all of the personal planets went through the sign of Leo, what happened was they first opposed Saturn, the planet of boundaries and delays and restrictions, and it's like the brick wall. So think about over the last 2 months, how you've come up against Saturn in your own life. Maybe it was something small, maybe it was something huge. And then the square to Uranus, each of the planets then squared Uranus, which gave an opportunity for a breakthrough or a breakdown or just brilliant insights. And so there had been a lot of people like quitting their jobs unexpectedly. That's how some people like came up against Saturn and had just had it, and they decided to make changes with their life. So hopefully most of them who quit are going on to better things, but there's also this energy of doing things a little bit rashly. But when we're present and we know what we're experiencing, we can use it to the best of our abilities. And now we are in the soft energy with Uranus. So we really can use this in a more smooth, easy fashion in order to have the insights and the breakthroughs. Yeah, and Mercury is exalted in the sign of Virgo. So the thinking processes can be at their highest. So we can really think clearly with this energy. Yeah, the other thing is that there's this beautiful chart pattern called a grand trine. And grand trines happens when there are 3 planets in, or points or asteroids in each sign of the same element. So we know that Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra are the air signs. So you can see here we have Venus, the planet of what we love and money, in the sign of Libra, and it's at home in Libra, in what's called a trine to Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn brings structure to Aquarius, the vision, and then to Ceres, which is an asteroid all about, how do we need to nurture ourselves? How can you nurture your mind is what I'm thinking with the Ceres in the sign of Gemini. Give yourself healthy food for thought. Give yourself activities that help you manage this Uranian. Uranus is also like the live wire or the lightning bolt. There's just this underlying potentially stress people are feeling. I know I'm feeling it. I can feel myself talking faster than I normally do. And yeah, so using this energy in a positive way, can give us a lot of support for conversations with loved ones, support to ask for how we can get our needs met in relationships. And I love how Ceres is on the North Node, which speaks about how we're moving forward. So think about that ease and access to information and the words to speak our needs. There's also this what's called a kite, where the grand trine is grounded in the sign of the compatible element. Oh, go ahead, ask your question. Did someone have a question? Okay, so Sagittarius is fire. Right. So Marie, did you have a question?
I can't hear.
Oh, can no one hear me?
No, I can hear you, Celeste.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry,
Okay.
Maria.
Sorry, Maria. Well, I can't hear.
Customer service 101.
Oh, I don't know what's going on with that. That's very on. Let me.
I think she has to just turn off her mic.
Yeah,
people have to mute.
Do I have a mic on?
Yeah, let's see if I can figure out where is she? Okay, hopefully she turned it off. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's see. But it gives me a chance to catch my breath. So one of the things that is happening is Uranus is stationing, and the energy is just intense. So it's stationed already on the 19th, but now it's going retrograde. So when planets come to station, they really slow down, and Uranus can bring a lot of nervous energy. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling that. If people want to write in the chat, if they've noticed how the next week, whether they had just a lot of electronic issues, Uranus rules technology or anything with technology, or if you're just feeling this sense of almost like you're plugged into an outlet, just put it in the chat and I'll read those later because it's been a lot, but it should lighten up and reduce over the next couple of days. Yeah. So anyway, I was talking about this grand trine in air that's grounded in fire in the sign of Sagittarius, the sign of the wisdom. So yeah, one of the things with Juno, the planet of partnerships being here, again, I've talked a lot about, there has been the call to have courageous conversations about long-term issues in relationships as one of the calls, as well as to move towards Gemini, the new facts, and release the dogma or the old stories. We're all called to do that as well with the nodes. So there's really energy to have courageous conversations about getting your needs met in relationships and doing so with kindness and diplomacy with this. Now, Ceres, how we nurture ourselves, it's like the asteroid that has to do a lot with mothering energy is opposite Juno, the asteroid that's about marriage, partnerships, things like that. So there is the potential with this opposition to get into conflicts about child rearing was one of the things that jumped out at me. So especially since they're on the node. So think about that. Like if you are discussing child rearing with a teacher or your partner, to try to use this energy to stay in harmony. Try to keep harmony and balance when you're having these discussions and not just butt heads or move to the opposite sides with that opposition. Or just how you need to be nurtured in your partnerships or friendships, frankly. Okay, so that's that. And the other wonderful thing about this is we have 5 planets in their home signs. So the sun is at home in Leo, Mercury's at home in Virgo, Venus in Libra, Saturn in Aquarius, and Neptune in Pisces. And so they can function at their full capabilities. And all 4 of the elements of fire, air, earth, and water are represented. Fire, the life-giving force; earth, how we make things tangible, bring them down to earth; air, the intellectual mind; and water, the feeling body. We have support here. So opportunities to manifest our dreams, illuminate the finer details with all that Virgo, figure out what resources are required with the Saturn, and see what remaining obstacles that are still there in order to chart our path forward is a way I think we can really use this energy for the highest good. But I really love this chart. I mean, there's some difficult things like Uranus stationing on a world point. I mean, we saw, war break out again in Afghanistan. There's also Pluto, the planet of power, domination, things like that, squaring Eris, the goddess of discord. So there is that energy as well, but I feel like that energy is farther removed from us and that we can use it to our highest good. And I'm going to pause here. I've been talking so fast. Does anybody have any questions about anything I presented so far? Okay, so now we get into like some of the juicy stuff around the mundane astrology. Mundane astrology is the astrology of world events. Yeah, so this woman, Elsie Wheeler, was a clairvoyant who sat under a tree in San Diego in like the 1920s with Mark Edmund Jones, a very well-known astrologer, and they went through every degree of the zodiac. The zodiac has 360 degrees, and she told him what she was seeing. So she channeled a vision and he wrote them all down. And these are called the Sabian symbols. One thing it's really good to do, and you could just Google the Sabian symbols to see what the Sabian symbols are of, especially your sun, moon, and rising, but you can look at all your planets and they can tell you more about like your life's journey or the story of your life or some kind of the mythic nature of your life with these symbols. But anyway, I thought these were fascinating. So 29 Leo is an unsealed letter, has vital and confidential information. And 29 Aquarius, where the moon is moonlit fields, once Babylon, are blooming light. So this just so connects in that what's happening in the world with this conflict. And, you know, the United States left Afghanistan, and the country, it's just devastating to see how quickly it's dissolved. But the astrology speaks to it. Uranus being on a world point speaks to big, shocking events happening. And I taped a little video more about that. You can go look at that on my YouTube if you want to learn more about like what happened last Sunday. But, you know, although Babylon is Iraq, I mean, this just so speaks to what's happening in the world right now. So yeah, so the Sabian symbol of the moonlit field, I mean, I think, you know, an unsealed letter has vital and confidential information. To me, in our own lives, can mean that the information we have is available. It may be available in our own psyches, but it's in an envelope. So we have to be present. We have to stop. I don't know, whatever it is you do, meditate, walk in nature. We have to be available and take an action, Mars and Mercury and Virgo, in order to have access to the information. Yeah, it's really important to state our intentions. If you're not sure the path forward, just do something like journaling for like 10 minutes. Don't edit yourself and just write, or pull an oracle card and just write about that. These are ways we can tap into this imagery. In terms of the moonlit fields, once Babylon, or blooming light, for our own lives, it can speak to the essence of a place that the resilience and beauty can come through in our lives, despite what hard things or bad things have happened. Linda Hill wrote this book where she talks about all the signs, and I have the reference at the end. She talks about the essence of a place remains after the war or the occupation. So this speaks to the loss of an ancient civilization, destroying ancient lands because of religious benefits or greed. So see how you see these two things come to light in the news. I think we're going to be getting a lot of leaks about what's gone on and what's going on now there. And that's how you can use these symbols. But I thought that was fascinating. And then, so this is a really great opportunity to see a large story of what's happening in the world. And maybe this can help you connect these events in your own life, whether it's this month or not. But anyway, with this moon cycle or not, but in our own lives, these unfolding 27-month moon cycles speak to larger stories in our lives. It can be like a relationship, it can be a job, it can be all sorts of things. It can be a mind shift. Yeah, and then we will see things pop at the first quarter full moon, last quarter, with the stories. So this one, there was a peace deal signed with the Taliban on February 29th of 2020. So the chart I have here is the new moon of this cycle that we're in right now. And as I mentioned earlier, the new moon for this was in Pisces, a different sign than the full moon is now, but within 5 degrees, so very close to the same degree. The thing that's so fascinating about this is that that new moon was conjunct Fomalhaut, which is a royal fixed star. All the 4 royal fixed stars are tied to world events. The ancients saw them as incredibly important. They saw them as amplifiers. So people who have one of the planets connected to one of the 4 fixed stars, and they are Fomalhaut, Antares at, I think it's 9 Sagittarius, Aldebaran at 9 Gemini, and Regulus at 29 Leo. They were seen to magnify the intensity of that planet. People who have things on world stars, sometimes you need other things in your chart too, but can have a strong drive to achieve and become very successful in some sort of area of their lives. Fomalhaut is the most gentle of these stars. It's called the mouth of the fish. People who have this prominent can have great talent and luck. But with all of these fixed stars, there is something that can cause a downfall. So corrupt ideals can lead to a downfall with Fomalhaut. And imagination can become detached from reality. One can say maybe perhaps that thinking one could have a peace deal with these Taliban, who were just such a different, living in a different century, it feels like, may be somewhat detached from reality. So looking at this chart, this new moon, Mercury, and Neptune were all in Pisces. Pisces is about peace, is one of the key words of Pisces, and it can speak to, and Neptune's here, it looked good on the surface, but there's something about an illusion about it. Neptune is a planet of illusions and delusions. The thing that curled my hair with this is that the ascendant is conjunct the fixed star of Algol. So Algol is a fixed star, and cultures around the world with these fixed stars have given them the same symbology. The story, the legends may be somewhat different, but they all have the same symbology. And Algol is the most feared fixed star. It's called the head of the beast. Arabian cultures or Arabs called it Ras Al Ghul. And it could be about passions that can aspire or destroy. The constellation is like Perseus from Greek mythology holding the head of Medusa. There's something about beheading that's related to Algol. Now, if you have Algol in your own chart, it can be just about intense feminine energy or intense passion. It can speak about, the fear men have of women who assert their own sexuality with and throw off the patriarchy. It can speak to the fear of the divine feminine sexuality and things like that. So don't freak out if you have something conjunct Algol in your chart. But this is the symbology for, thousands of years about it, that it can be connected with unfortunate events. And we're having our next eclipse. The moon is going to be at 26 Taurus on Algol. So that's part of this story as well. These things unfold over time. So I think it's very interesting that Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto are in the 9th house, which speaks to foreign affairs. The 9th house rules foreign affairs. Saturn conjunct Pluto was one of the things that is intimately related to the pandemic. Massive destruction and government collapses is that archetypal energy, and as well as Mars on the South Node. The South Node is the cosmic vacuum cleaner, and it often can be suck things out of our lives or suck things away. So death due to Mars war in the 8th house of death is just so symbolic of this. So this chart that initiated the events at the new moon, the sun and the moon are in the dark, so we often don't see necessarily what is starting. But now we're at the full illumination 18 months later at the full moon, and it so relates back to this story. So I just thought this was so fascinating. Also, the fact that tomorrow's full moon the sun is on Regulus, and Regulus is a fixed star about achievement and power. Donald Trump has his ascendant on Regulus. It can bring great success, but if there is vindictiveness or one acts in a vengeful fashion, it can cause a massive fall. So like his life story really speaks to his ascendant being on Regulus and being tied to this moon cycle. Yeah, so I thought that was fascinating. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay.
You spoke about Sabian symbols.
Yes.
Is that Sabian or SE?
SA.
Okay.
Sabian symbols, and each degree has, and so if you see here, so she numbered them from 1 to 30, but we number the signs from 0 to 29. So you will, if you're like, say your sun was at 12 Aries, you would read the one that says 13 Aries, or it depends where you're looking. It may say 12 to 13 would be the one you would read. So this is why it's actually Leo 30 in the book.
Thank you so much.
The Hills book. Yeah, you're very welcome. Okay, so here are some things about making the most of this Aquarius full moon. So despite what's going on in the world, despite the tragedy, the devastation, the loss of life, we can still, find joy in our own lives. So with this full moon, the advice is to really, write down your instincts, your insights, which may come from your instincts. Create a gratitude journal, despite all the hardship and everything, as we're watching this, our society kind of, devolve and come unglued. How can you still have gratitude in your own life? Actively manage the stress in your life with this. Uranus is stationing, as I mentioned, the next eclipse is going to be on Algol, is going to be involved. The United States is going through its Pluto return next year. There's just so much with the Saturn-Uranus squares. Unexpectedly, structures are blowing up. How can we actively manage stress in our own lives? This is part of an evolution. Things will be changed, but we're still all part of this story, and we want to live our best lives that we can. So spreading kindness. Aquarius is the sign of the collective and the community. How can you help your neighbors? How can you even just like a kind word to someone, or doing just a small thoughtful gesture to someone can be something you can do to use this energy well. And yeah, building community with your your local community, as well as there are all sorts of organizations that are helping with helping the women in Afghanistan and those people trying to get out, or is in your own neighborhood where people have lost their jobs or having housing insecurity and things like that. The caution with the sun opposite Jupiter and Leo, this Leo energy, this concentration of this 29th degree, self-indulgence can be one of the shadows. Also, don't make any huge purchases in the next few days, I would recommend. Reckless defiance with Uranus stationing is something that could happen, or overconfidence, again, with the sun opposite Jupiter. And fights over child rearing, I mentioned, or just if you need to clash with authority, just do so with intention and not recklessly. Okay. And then let's just talk about through the signs. So when I talk about the signs, think about this with your sun sign as well as your rising sign. So think about how you can release things, celebrate, and what is being spotlighted in your life with this full moon. So if you are a Pisces sun or a Pisces rising, this full moon is shining in your sixth house of the sun is shining in your sixth house of chop wood daily water. So what can you release in order to have a healthier lifestyle, order to have more joy in the day-to-day activities of your life? The sixth house also rules employees or small pets. Can you do something nice for one of your pets? Do something kind for them and release self-sabotage. The 12th house can be about self-sabotage or things like that. It's our subconscious is the 12th house. If you are in Aries, the sun is in your 5th house of joy, children, recreation, things like that, spotlighting how you take action in your own life to create joy. And the moon is in your 11th house of groups and friends. And, you know, what can you release in terms of, for some people, it's as our values are becoming clearer and we're gathering new information, sometimes we need to release old friends or groups or things that are no longer serving us, or just make adjustments so that we can live more harmoniously or bring some kindness in this area. But think about if you're just staying in around unhealthy people or unhealthy groups just for out of habit, and whether there needs to be some release there. Saturn's in that sign. If you're a Taurus, this is in your 4th house, family and foundations, Taurus sun or Taurus rising. So the sun is shining on your family, your foundations, your most private self, and the moon is in your career house. So what could you release? What is being spotlighted on how you need to release things from work in order to have a better home family life? Are there some things maybe about leaving the stress at the office, and the office may be your living room? So how can you more cooperatively work with your family, have better relationships by making some adjustments and releasing things there? If you're a Gemini, the 3rd house is about your local environment. It can be about siblings. It's the house of communication. So think about how you say things in a Leo way for yourself versus the 9th house could speak to institutions, foreign travel. What would be a good thing? This could also be the little mind and the big mind. We can think of not being small-minded, but think about how you may think narrowly or small, and how you can release that to think larger or bigger, connecting into the dream more by releasing mental restrictions. Perhaps could be a good way to use this energy. So wisdom is the 9th house versus, just the facts. And then the 2nd house for Cancers. So Cancer suns, Cancer rising. Think about what have you been creating around how you want to bring resources to yourself. This could be about the money you make from the work you do. It could be about your skills or your talents. This is where the sun is shining. And this is the house, moon is in the house of shared resources. So what can you release from shared resources? It's also about like deeper psychological processes. It's the shadow. what can you release about your, your fears, mental fears, to help you create more in the area of your talents, your skills, and things like that? How, or you can think about as well with this shared versus personal resources, how you can be more independent in your finances. So Leo, it's in your first house of self. The sun is shining on you, the moon in the house of the partner. Think about how you can release boundaries or old structures to have a more harmonious relationship with your partners. If you're single, maybe you want to rebrand yourself in some way so that, you can attract the love you want into your life. So if you are a Virgo, it's actually, I know it's in Aquarius. So if you are a Virgo, the sun is shining in the house of self-undoing. So think about things that you do that are not for your highest good, how you can release them in order to have a healthier life. If you are a Libra, the sun is in the house of groups versus the moon in the house of how you create joy for yourself. So think about Libras can be people pleasing. Think about, can you release some of that in order to bring more joy into your own personal life? This can be about the courageous conversations that you need to have, or just an internal shift. If you're a Scorpio, the sun is in your house of career and the moon is in the house of home, family, and foundation. So think about, how you meet the world, 10th house topics. The sun is shining on that. What do you need to release in terms of, do you have any limitations you've set on for yourself that, you can release in order to, shine your brightest out in the world? If you're Sagittarius, the sun is in your house of, this should feel very comfortable, the sun being in the 9th house, the house of wisdom, of higher education, learning, things like that. What do you need to release about, if you do think small, what do you need to release about that to just, gather more information, wisdom, and the facts for your path forward to explore the world, which Sagittarius loves to do. And then Capricorn, it's actually in the 8th house because it's like at 29 degrees, it's moving. Let me just, so people don't get confused. Let me move this back because we're going into Virgo season tomorrow. Okay, so Capricorn, the sun is shining in your 8th house of like deep psychological processes, shared resources, the house of the shadow, and the moon is in the 2nd house of personal resources, values, and things. So think about, how you create in your wealth build. Capricorns often are very driven and ambitious, and think about, are you driving yourself forward in a healthy way? Do you need to release some things? To have your values changed, especially throughout this pandemic, about how important the material world is versus other things in your life? So think about that. And Aquarius, it's the sun is shining in the house of partnership and the moon is in your 1st house. So what can you release about your identity? What things hold you back in order to be the best partner or call in the love you want for your life? Any questions about the signs, sun and rising?
Yes, Celeste.
Yes.
You mentioned Virgo in the 12th house of undoing.
Yes.
But what if your sun is in the 12th house of undoing? How do you undo that?
Well, it also is about mysticism. If your sun is natally in the 12th house, you can think about sometimes people just like to be more behind the scenes with that. It's the house of the subconscious. So it could be about subconscious processes that are not at the fourth thought, but also could be about merging and the mysticism. It's very Neptunian, the 12th house. So think about, bringing to light the things that are not in your conscious awareness for your highest good. We all, undo ourselves in certain ways. And yeah, it just shines an additional light on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Celeste, I have a question.
Yes.
So, what if I'm trying really hard to resonate with the joyousness of this full moon tomorrow and all of the abundant kind of positivity that's available, but I like 100% don't feel that way at all. I like don't I and I'm wondering like what is wrong with me that things feel so hard, like so the opposite of joyous.
Yeah, Pritha. We'll look at your chart when I do them, and I think that will illuminate it.
Also in the chat, a lot of people have been communicating. Yeah, like I know you're not reading the chat, Celeste, because you're doing this amazing lecture, but like so many people have been writing things just feel super stressful, really hard, really anxious. And
That's the Uranus stationing.
oh,
So this is okay. So it's now it's retrograde, so it should start to release. But this week there's been a lot of build up of this energy that you may feel really unsettled and ungrounded. And what you can do with that is, some things you can go out into nature, take your shoes off, rub your feet in the grass, try to discharge that energy. Take a Epsom salt bath, try to let it go. I started to have like a really anxiousness the other day for no apparent reason. So I just stopped and meditated and just like, tried to work to calm myself down. Do things that are joyful, go out, go play a game, have a game night, watch a funny movie. Try to bring some of this joy and abundance that's available to you into your life, and try to manage that, that Uranian feeling of unsettledness. And as well, the whole theme of the year is a Saturn Uranus square, like people feeling like they're up against boundaries. Personally, I feel like everything takes so much longer to do than it normally does, because that's Saturn. It's like there's not enough time and there's too much to do, and it feels like there's restrictions. But one of the things you can use that Uranus square to is like breakthrough thinking about, well, what can I release? Am I doing things I don't really need to do? I was going to start teaching my moon mastery again in September, and I've just felt so overwhelmed because I'm doing all these other things, and decided to delay it because for my own good. So think about things that you thought were the way they had to be this way, but Saturn, but use Uranus to be like, well, maybe I can do something differently. And yeah, these are the kind of insights that can come through with it. Jupiter also just makes everything bigger. So if you're having difficulty accessing the joy, maybe Jupiter's just making the emotional body bigger. And really try to lean into that Leo sun of, finding the joy in life, doing something creatively. Do you have a hobby? Do you want to read a book? Do you want to, I don't know, draw a painting? Whatever you do for joy. If you don't have a hobby, I really recommend like looking around to things to get something that you do just for pleasure. You can Google 10 best hobbies or something, and maybe one thing will resonate with you. Just spending some time in that weekly that you give yourself space to just have some pleasure. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, so helpful, so encouraging. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I mean, times are tough right now, but you know, working to have some joy, I think is so important. And so I recommend, oh, it shouldn't say eclipse, it should say full moon. But anyway, the ritual is the same. You know, for all of these moon cycles, the new moon, the first quarter, full, and last quarter, I recommend taking time to just journal or something. But with the full moon, you know, bringing in the elements of fire, earth, air, and water, having a sacred space where you take some time, even if it's only 10 minutes, to be with yourself and to go within and think about what the call is of what you need to release. And I love oracle cards, like pulling a card and just thinking about it or writing about it is something you can do with this energy. And here are some prompts you can think about for journaling, oracle cards, or just thinking about, you know, how have you managed since July 1st was when I think Mars was the first planet that opposed Saturn, then squared Uranus. So it was about how we take action, and then about how we relate to others with Venus, then Mercury, how we think and communicate, and then the Sun, our will, like how we're moving forward in the world. Each of these planets, one by one, since July 1st, came up against Saturnian restrictions, and then there was that Uranus release. Did you have a breakdown, or did you have some breakthroughs, or somewhere in between? It depends on your chart to how big these things were. For some people, they were life-changing since July 1st. So think about that. A lot of relationship breakups and people leaving jobs and unexpectedly losing jobs, things like that have happened since then. So think back to the last full moon. So the last full moon was at 1 degrees Aquarius. So this is a second full moon in the same sign. Some call it a blue moon. So think about where we were back then, where you were then, and what epiphanies or what new information has come through about how you move through life since then. Also, what can you release to move forward on your path? Have you answered the Saturn-Uranus call of this year, the square? What we're all called to release structures that no longer serve us and bring in new things in a new way. So these are some of the resources. Linda Hill, I love this book, The Sabian Symbols. What you can do with this, the Sabian Symbols as an oracle, you can get it online, or you can buy the physical book, which comes with these cards that go along with the symbols. And you could also just, with this book, just open it to any page and read the page, and it can bring through information and things for you to think about, as well as read up on all your personal planets. And then Dietrich Pessin is the woman who discovered the fact that every 9 months, when there's like a new moon, every 9 months after that, about the approximate same degree is being activated, keying into larger stories in our lives. Moonology is just a nice book that talks about all the signs for the full moon and new moon. And Bernadette Brady writes extensively about the fixed stars. And I mentioned, you know, Fomalhaut and Regulus, royal fixed stars, very important, especially to the ancients. And I always use Solar Fire software. And I have an intention settings with the moon phase guide that gives you some more information about that. You can download that from my website. It also has worksheets for you to write what you're doing through the different moon phases. And so where to find me? Subscribing to my newsletter. joining the wait list. I will be starting Moon Mastery, I believe, again in January or February, so early next year. You can also book a reading with me. I can do events for you, as well as if you want more long ongoing coaching to really work with your chart and uncover how you want to move forward with your life. And every Sunday I'm on Instagram Live, Sunday and Monday at 9:30. And then I have a YouTube channel where I talk about, things more and present the charts and things so that it can help people understand these big events, as well as what's going on in the world. Okay. So now what I'd like to do is do some hot takes on people's charts. Now, someone reached out to me and said their birthday's tomorrow, and we're asking the question about, are you here? Speak up, come off mute and speak up if you are able to make it today. Okay. If not, or you're still unmuting, Anthony, did you want to, I know you had a request. Do you want to look at your chart?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, so now what we're going to do is these chart hot takes, where I'll do as many as I can. And Anthony is one of my clients.
ANTH-ONY.
Oh, sorry. And we know each other from a past life. Not a real past life. It's over. So anyway, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, hold on. Okay, here is Anthony. Okay, Gemini Sun, Libra Moon, and Leo Rising. So let's look at this full moon.
Like Pritha was saying, and everybody, I've been in a funk too lately, so.
Okay, let's see what we have here. Well, the first thing that jumps out at me from your chart is you have Uranus, which I've been talking about. Was it like, can feel like you're almost like plugged into a light socket. It could be give you feelings of wanting to like do things unexpected or unexpected mood swings. It's right on your Chiron, and Chiron is the wounded healer. It's about our original core wound. So you might be feeling this more intensely than some others. Has anything come up unexpectedly in your work this week or the last couple of weeks? Or
No,
is it?
because you know how it is. So nothing unexpected there.
Oh, okay. So it may just be about more about, your feelings, and, you can think about, relationship in terms of are things happening that are changing your values? Are things that are connected to your childhood with what you're feeling now, this funk? Think about that, because you have Mercury and Mars moving through Virgo, and it's the sign that has your Saturn here. So yeah, that can bring a little bit of but it shouldn't last too long if it's triggering any kind of funk in terms of, but I would really think a lot about your values and think of if you're feeling some of the process of not feeling great is about feeling like you thought things should be a certain way and they're not anymore, and how that's impacting you emotionally. But this activation is also on your south node, so that can bring your Jupiter on the south node can the south node kind of swallows things up, can be about like swallowing up some of the joy in life, but this is temporary. So I would just focus on how it's temporary, focus on trying to find the good stuff with it. Yeah, spending time with your siblings, I think, could be a really good way for you to use this energy, or just with friends or something, just chatting it out with people, I think would be a good thing to do. But the sun is in your house of your identity and the self and the physical body, and the moon in partnership. So it could be like feelings of loss around relationships and things like that could be a possibility. But when Saturn moves into our 7th house, sometimes new relationships can come in our lives that have like a structure to them and could be long-term. So there's that too. So I hope that helps, Anthony, give some insights.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I'm still dealing with the effects of previous breakup, but currently dating as well. So might be some new opportunities.
Yeah, I think
I would say I'm not 100% over the breakup, but yeah.
Yeah. So really, I think the call is with this to really get clear on your values in relationship, I think would be helpful for you.
Okay.
Okay. So does anyone else have let me take a quick look at Preetha. Does anyone have their birthday? Is anyone a Leo? I'll do a Leo next. Let me open. Yeah, raise your hand, and then I'll just have to do them by the. Okay. Okay. And I'd like to do people who haven't had ones before as well. So, okay, so Preetha as well, values, assessing your values is going to be really important for you. And your sun is shining on your 2nd house of, your personal resources, your skills, your talents, and the moon in the 8th house can really bring up the shadow side of things.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. And really like doing some releasing there, I think, are some of the key things that would be helpful for you.
Can you talk at all anything about like my career or work? Is there anything like I can't actually see the chart? I don't know. You're not sharing the screen, maybe?
No, I'm not. Okay. Yeah, so Uranus is in your 10th house. So that can be changes, unexpectedness, things, or an awakening about your work in the world.
So the thing that I am really worried about is like my natal Neptune in sextile with transiting Pluto. Like I'm just kind of like, what is going on there?
Your natal Neptune and transiting Pluto. It's sextiles are opportunities.
Okay.
they generally don't bring bad things, but Pluto can break things down or destroy, like the purification through fire.
Okay.
And Neptune can dissolve things, or it can be the bigger, bring compassion and things like that. But I wouldn't be too concerned about that, although when the moon goes through, let's see, when the moon goes through the makes a yod to it in Sagittarius. Is that Sagittarius? Yeah. When the moon goes through Sagittarius every month, or when we come to Sagittarius season, it'll be interesting to see, because there'll be this chart pattern where things will need adjusting, and depending on the nature of the planet, depends on what needs. Now, what's opposite Sagittarius? Gemini. I'm sorry, when the moon goes through Gemini. Sorry, I'm supposed to be thinking clearly, and I was having real problems thinking clearly with that. There may be some need for adjustment, but you're having Pluto on the descendant is a big deal, because powerful, you can come up, Pluto can bring triangulation. You can come up with powerful and power struggles with your partner, or there can be a transformation of relationships, or powerful people can come into your life where it can be positive, or you can feel like they're opposing you. So that's a big deal, having Pluto coming to your descendant, and it's going to be an issue for you a lot next year, and maybe it has something to do with foundational stuff.
Hooray.
So,
Sounds great. Very,
but
very, very excited.
Pluto gives, after a Pluto transit, there's a gift. So like you walk through the fire, and then there's some kind of gift. So think about that there will be something there for you afterwards. And it can be beautiful having someone Plutonian come into your life as well. It can be very healing. Pluto can help heal as well. So,
Okay, well, thank you for that.
oh, you're welcome. Okay, I see a happy B-Day. Is someone's birthday? Oh, Kaylin.
Oh, it's not my birthday.
Well, you have your hand up. We can do you, and then we'll do Janet, and then we'll see if anybody has a birthday. Okay. How are you?
Honestly, I've been a lot better. I am very close to wanting to just walk out of my job and not turn back.
Okay. And this is you, right? It's not another
Is it
Kaylin.
April 5th? Yeah.
April 5th. Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure.
There's not many Kaylins, but
Yeah. Hey, so good to hear you. Okay, so you are just about had it with your job.
Yeah.
Mars and Mercury are moving through Virgo. You're thinking of taking action around 10th house topics.
Yeah.
The first thing that jumps out about that. And then let's look at the so, and is it around that feeling that for frustrations, delays, bucking up against authority kind of thing?
Oh yeah, I definitely have a problem with authority right now.
Well, you are
Yeah.
so much Aries energy.
Yeah, I'm feeling very impulsive, Celeste.
Yeah, so Aries could be
Something stupid.
Yeah. And so let's see. Look at this. Mercury and Mars are like just hugging your midheaven, your
Yeah.
line. So that makes total sense. And
Could
yeah.
this have to do with the Pluto Uranus? Like I'm having like an opposition or something in my sixth house. And
Oh, yeah. So this could be like, so you have Pluto in the 12th of the subconscious, that, you know, that planet of power, the Pluto is the destroyer, coming up against opposing Uranus. And so you're feeling this need to maybe burn it all down in your daily life. Yeah. And it's stationing. As I said, Uranus, it's stationed on the 19th, but it's going retrograde, which means from our here on Earth, it looks like it's moving backwards. So it's like this psychologically, we're going to be able to see things in a different way. This sixth house topic it is for you about and like you're going to be more and more potentially awakened to things going on in your work that you want to change, or maybe you don't like. But this intense energy, I would caution you not to make any big decisions about your job in the next couple of weeks. Maybe wait till Mercury and Mars get out of Virgo.
okay, that long?
See what's illuminated by Virgo season. Yeah.
Okay.
But get your resume together. I mean,
yeah, I'm working on it.
Get your resume together, start getting feelers out there. Yeah, the new moon, the next month is about Virgo. So there'll be a new moon in Virgo, and you can set intentions about how you're going to find a new job without just throwing it out the window.
Okay.
And yeah, think about how you can, you know, the sun in your ninth house of expansion versus the moon in your third house. So again, like trying to see the wisdom rather than the close thinking.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Celeste.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Okay, so let's do Janet. Janet, hi, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank
Good.
you.
I also just wanted to mention, I saw in the chat that there's a Mallory who just had their birthday, and I just wanted to make sure, I don't know if you saw that, but I don't know who they are, but.
I did not. Okay, Mallory,
Okay.
if you want to get it after Janet.
I'm new. I don't think you have my information. So.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Great.
I've been here, but I haven't had a hot take before.
Okay, great. What is your birth date?
April 30th, 1981. And at 12:17 p.m. in Vancouver, BC, Canada.
I love Vancouver.
It's pretty beautiful. I'm in Halifax now, but.
It is so pretty up there. Okay, Janet. Well, welcome. So nice to meet you. Oh, you're a Taurus sun, just like me. And look at that Taurus. Oh my God. Look at I'm so glad you raised your hand. Look at this Taurus stellium. And you're a moon in Pisces and a Leo rising. So Uranus is marching through the sign of Taurus, and Taurus is fixed earth. So there is this need for security and stability. And it's where Tauruses are feeling upended. And so how have you felt with this Uranus transit? It's like between your sun and your moon. I mean, not your sun and your moon, your sun and your Mercury.
It's been really intense. And I lost my job during that time, and housing and COVID. And it was just absolutely crazy. So no stability at all. Uranus has been very clear about that. And I just feel like I've been constantly becoming and changing, going through this crazy spiritual journey, and with nothing to hold on to. So I'm trying to start my own thing in my career, and I just don't know what's going on, or which way is up, which way is down, and where to go next. It's been crazy.
Yeah, well, you are an Aries midheaven, And that can be like give you leadership qualities. It can as well make you a pioneer. And yeah. And the planet that is closest to you, I'm sorry, I can't see the degree. Oh, it's 26. Okay. And Pluto is the planet close. Oh, so yeah, there's a call for this complete transformation that you're having.
Yes.
You want to share what you're working on starting?
Oh yeah. So I actually do a lot of work with the moon and like movements and working on bringing like a wellness program to different corporations. I used to work in business development management. And so I worked in the corporate world for quite a while and kind of going on more of a spiritual journey and thinking of how I can bring a little bit more like calmness and awareness to the people who work in those companies, because as you know, it can be so incredibly stressful. And so, yeah, I've been working on that around the different things that I do, such as like meditation, breath work, movement, and working with the moon cycles. So I'm figuring it out.
I love that. I love that. You're a Leo rising, so you're here to see and be seen. So I think this would help you to connect with your clients. And having your moon in the 8th house in the sign of Pisces. I love this. I think this sounds wonderful for you.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
It's really scary because I don't know what I'm doing, but
yeah, well, this Saturn Uranus square for Tauruses in general, and you have 4 planets as well as Chiron, the wounded healer, in Taurus. So it is just you're in for a ride. But think a bit about awakening to your destiny is what I want you to think about with that. And oh, that's today, not actually. Before I do that, let me just look at where. Your progressed sun, and progression speak to like emotionally what we're going through. Your progressed sun is in the 11th house, and your progressed moon is in the 3rd house. And it just, have you had like a mental shift, like just in the last month or so about anything?
I would say, yes, I've been feeling like I've had to sort of sit and wait and be in the flow and like allow and not do for a while, which is like very frustrating for me, but I've been doing that. And then recently things have started to feel like they're moving again, but I do feel like I've been going through constant mental shifts for like the last 3 years. It's been pretty intense of just like changing all the time.
That's when Uranus went into Taurus in 2018. Okay.
Yes.
Well, in 4 months, approximately, your progressed moon will move into Libra. So you may be thinking about partnerships, and they could be about partnering with others or partnering in your relationship, partnering with others to start something around your business, and then it'll hit Jupiter and then Saturn. The progressed moon moves about a degree.
Okay.
So there's going to be this unfolding of the story where maybe you find like a way to expand and then bring structure to it. I think it's a really positive way to use this information. Are you married or in a serious?
No, I'm single. I feel like I've been single forever. So
wow.
It's only been like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, well, there may be some transformation about that coming. When Saturn crosses our descendant and it's going to cross your descendant again. That sometimes can bring in a very serious partner.
Okay, I'm open to it. That'd be nice.
And the North Node is going to be going into Taurus in next year. So that'll bring things, I think, to your career and help help you grow. But see. Yeah. Oh, the full moon is in your house of the other of the partner. So I want you to
Okay.
closely connect it to what you want from a partner, like
Okay.
rights of bliss. And yeah, next year Uranus is going to hit your Venus, and that could bring in a relationship as well. It could come out of nowhere, sudden. Yeah. Yeah. So
That's exciting.
but I love what you're doing about working with corporations, about helping people with, these tools to help ground them and connect them into the cycle. So that's just
Thank you.
wonderful. Yes.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that because I was like, this is what I feel called to do, but I have no idea how I'm going to do it or if it's even right. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I love it. I love it. Okay. So Mallory, did you want me to look at your chart? You're on mute. Oh, maybe not. Maybe. Okay. Here we have. Oh, there you are, Mallory. You got to unmute yourself. You came off and then you went back on. I think this is Uranus moving very slowly. Try again to unmute yourself. Okay, sorry, Mallory. I can't hear you. Okay, Sophia, can you come off mute?
Yes, hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you today?
I'm doing well. What is your information?
10/31/1985.
Okay, what time?
My time is 10:47 a.m.
And where?
Bronx, New York.
Okay. Okay. Oh, wow. So you have a lot of Scorpio energy.
Yes, I do.
Scorpio stellium, and you're a Capricorn rising. So that's a really nice combination that can make you strategic. Do you feel like you're able to be really strategic in your career?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Right now, I'm trying to start a little business and trying to like find my purpose in life. And I feel like it's helping people. So that's what I'm into right now. Yeah.
You have Neptune right on your ascendant. Are you psychic?
Yes, I be thinking so. Yes, I do.
Great. And you have your moon in Gemini in the 5th house. Yeah. So emotionally connecting into being really creative.
Yes.
For you.
Very much so.
Okay. What kind of business are you starting?
I am starting a spiritual business with candles and some tarot card reading and just to empower people, like a life coach.
I love that. Well,
yes, that's my passion, to help people.
Yeah, with that Neptune right there. Yeah, I think you could help people like bring structures, like bring things down to life. Help.
Yes.
The ultimate manifester, and they manifest things in the real world. Yeah. The sun is shining on your series. So do you have children?
Yes, I have a 15-year-old son. I have one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about, so Ceres is the asteroid of nurturing. So think about, I don't know if you want to spend time with him or do something extra special or get some extra kindness on him.
Yes. That's exactly what I've been doing, though. I've been like hugged up with him for the last few days, watching movies and eating junk food.
I love that. That is such
a
good use of this energy. Yeah. As well as maybe reaching out to your own mother or nurturing your inner child.
Yes.
That's wonderful. And yeah, getting clear on, how you want to invest resources.
Hello?
That's good for you. Okay, Sophia, I hope that was helpful.
It was. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm gonna mute you just because there's background noise. Okay, Catherine. Do you want to come off mute?
Hi there.
Hi.
I think Sophia has to mute her phone still because I can hear her music.
I muted.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm new here also as far as my chart. So
Okay, great. Welcome. Where are you from?
I'm Orlando, you know, we're gonna
Oh
manifest
yeah, that
getting
was
rid
your
of DeSantis.
comment about. You know what? I was hearing even in Hawaii now they're having problems with an outbreak. It's just never ending. What is your birth date?
It's December 29th, 1969.
And the time?
5:15 a.m.
And the
No,
place.
I'm sorry. Wait, 6:15. 6:15. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
And then it's Binghamton, New York. Binghamton or HAMTON. Oh my gosh.
BINGHAMT.
TON. Yeah.
Okay.
Jeez. New York. Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's a mouthful. Okay.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. So you're a Capricorn sun.
Mhm.
And you have Venus next to right near your sun. So that's really nice. Or do you have people pleasing tendencies?
Yes.
Okay, well that's that. But that's kind of softens that Capricorn nature though.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Yeah. And then your moon in Virgo, another earth sign, but you have and next to the South Node, and then you have a Sagittarius rising. So this is a really interesting chart signature. Do you struggle with sometimes being too self-critical?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a Virgo, moon Virgo. And
yeah, perfectionism has been like, my nemesis my whole life.
Yes, that's that Virgo energy. And yeah, I have a South Node in Virgo too. And so like working to release some of that and moving into that North Node in Pisces about, trusting your intuition, letting things go, like letting go of the nitty-gritty details at times could be helpful for you in order to like just bring in some trust. There's a great book called Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller. I think would be really good for you to read, especially since you have planets so close to the South Node and the North Node.
Can you tell me her last name again?
Spiller, Spillar.
Okay.
It's called Astrology for the Soul, and it goes through all of the nodes, and you would read the North Node in Pisces and the North Node in the third house. That was life transformative for me to read that book. Anyway, having this Sagittarius rising is wonderful because Jupiter rules your chart from the 10th house. I would expect do you have like work really important for you, or do you have a big career or something?
I did, and then I just decided to put all my attention to my ex-husband's career.
Okay.
So now I'm working on building mine again. Yes.
Okay. Very good. Yeah. And let's see. Let's see what's going on.
Can you tell me something like with my chart? There's like, and with anybody's chart, when you have, a void in the chart, like it's void of planets, like how that works as far as when you're in Cancer season or something and they say look in your chart and see where Cancer is, but I don't have any, like how does that manifest or show up or whatever, like how is that?
Okay, so you don't have any planets in Cancer, but Cancer rules your 8th house, And so the moon is involved with that. So even though there's no planets here, we look to the moon, and the moon is in the 9th house in Virgo. So think about how you've been in service in area of intimacy and shared resources. And you just said you spent all your energy working on your ex-husband's career. And that kind of speaks to that story.
Mm.
Yeah, like that you have this need to be in service to the other, and you can work on this, Mars being next to your North Node. To me, like, think about, as well as with those Pisces themes, how you can more take action for the self rather than surrender to the other with this opposition of Mars. And
Awesome.
yeah. Now, what's interesting, you have Leo and Aquarius, what is called intercepted. So they're swallowed up by the whole house. They don't sit on their own houses. So yeah, think about how you're going to create joy in your future partnerships. If you after being divorced, you want any. And what you can release around values, especially around just intuitively being self-sacrificing in relationships, is what comes to me, for your higher good. But your partnership is really important to you. Where you meet the world is Libra. So yeah, and your Venus is next to your sun. So again, people pleasing is something that you can really delve into and work on what I was talking about with that grand trine, about thinking about how you get your needs met in relationships. And it can be with, if you have children, with them, or your family, things like that.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because all of my most exciting and creative things are always in partnership. Like anytime, because I'm creative, and so I like to be in partnership and doing that kind of exploration with other creatives.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm working by myself right now, and I'm like, oh, I really just want a partner, to do this with, because it's more fun and just bigger ideas come from it, and all that stuff. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I would look to think about how you can find partnership in your work. And yeah, you have Venus ruling your 5th house of creativity and in the sign of Capricorn. So yeah, working creatively with others is so in your chart.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. Well, I hope that helps.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're a little over, but I'll do a few more. Okay, let's see. Dory, why don't you come off mute?
Hi, yes, Dory.
Great, nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, Celeste. I've been following you for a while. I saw a show that you did with Colin, and I've just been following you ever since.
Yes, I love myself some Colin.
Yes.
Queer Cosmos, he is amazing.
Yeah. And your chemistry together is so much fun. So
thank you. Yeah, I always love chatting with him. You can follow him, people, at Queer Cosmos. He has a great Instagram. And I'm searching for you. I haven't done you before.
no, this is my first. I'm like skidding into home plate. I was in a different Zoom meeting where I was like reading a piece that was just published in a journal, and I'm like, I have to get to Celeste's Zoom meeting.
Well, I'm so glad you came. What is
Yes,
your
I'm so happy I did too.
what is your birthday?
March 2nd, 1973. And I'm born at 4:54 a.m. in Livingston, New Jersey.
Oh my God, I'm from Morristown.
What? I grew up in South Orange.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was born at St. Barnabas in Livingston.
Wow, right down the road.
Yep.
Livingston Mall all the time.
The mall.
So you're a Pisces sun,
Yes.
an Aquarius moon, and an Aquarius rising. What a lovely combination. Are
And
you
Jupiter
really
too? A lot of Aquarius.
Yeah. Are you really creative?
Yes.
Yeah. And let me see what's on your midheaven. There's a oh, Scorpio is on your midheaven. Okay, so Pluto rules your career.
Sorry.
Do you do something artistically for?
Yes, I'm a dancer. Well, I was a dancer primarily, and then transitioned more into teaching yoga, but I've always written and done a lot of different creative things.
I love that. Yeah. And so you're going through a lot because you have so much Aquarius energy. So in December 21st, Jupiter and Saturn met in Aquarius at 0 degrees, starting a new 20-year cycle for all of us. So where you can see your that area of your chart, something new about how we're going to bring abundance and bring structure is for all of us. And for you, it's like your rising sign. It's so close to your rising sign. It's all about your identity and who you are in this world and how you expand in this world. But you're called to release things with Saturn being in your first house around your identity. And Uranus is in your fourth house of the most private self. Like, what are you releasing around that family foundational stuff that is helping you move forward is something that's a big call for you, I think, with your chart. And things may be coming illuminated. The sun is shining in your 7th house. The moon is in your first house with this full moon. And what are you shedding?
So many things. I'm surprised because over the last 2 years, I'm currently coming to you from Reykjavik, Iceland, where I have lived for the last 5 years. And in that time, I had an Icelandic husband, and now we're divorced. Like, I've been divorcing during COVID, and it's been insane. It's been a lot of heavy lifting. And so now it's a lot of deep releasing.
Yeah. And on November 19th, there's going to be a solar eclipse where the sun will be at, I believe it's 26. It's either 26 or 27 Scorpio, and the moon will be at in Taurus. And so there's going to be a lot of releasing for you and a lot around your most private self. And as the eclipses, the North Node is going to be moving into your first house. And so there's going to be a lot of restructuring in your life. So just be prepared for this next eclipse season.
Okay.
To allow you to really release a lot of good stuff.
All right.
Let's see. And release like childhood stuff.
Yeah.
Childhood stuff. Yeah, you have algal on your IC. So release the gunk that needs to go. I think would be a really good call for you. And maybe even if therapy might be helpful. I'm
definitely in therapy right now. I've been in therapy for a couple of years, and we are hitting that part right now. Oh, good. Yeah, I think there's a lot that's going to come out with that eclipse, because eclipses, full moon eclipses really illuminate big things. So, okay. Well, I enjoy Iceland. I love that Blue Lagoon. I could have stayed in that thing for ever. Well, come on back. We have Sky Lagoon now, so there's more for you to see. I would love to come back to Iceland. I would like maybe to escape the United States and go there. Okay. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Mallory, can you try to get off on mute again?
Hi, Celeste.
Yay! How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for coming back to me.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, especially since it's your birthday. I want to.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Okay. What?
August 20th, 1983
And what
at
time?
4:44 a.m.
I love that.
in Sacramento, California.
Okay, I think we've talked before. Have we?
No, I don't think so. But I've reached out to you, so you may have just come across my info before.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so Sun Leo. So you've got Jupiter right on your sun. Have you been feeling good?
I've been feeling all right.
Okay.
It's been kind of rough.
Well, Jupiter makes everything bigger, but it typically brings some kind of abundance. So I hope something nice happens, for you. I'm sorry, you have Jupiter opposite your sun. Jupiter opposite your sun. Huh. Are you married?
No.
Okay. Well, if you're interested in dating, I don't know, stay present for that. There's this full moon, Jupiter's opposite your sun. Yeah, there
All right. I'm definitely open to that.
could be something nice with that. And you're a Leo and you have your sun in your first house. So this life is a lot about who you are, how you create, how you take action in this world. Your moon is in the sixth house in Capricorn, a being of service in your daily life and maybe even in your work. What kind of work do you do?
I work for a utility company.
Okay. And yeah, and a Leo rising. And you've got Aries midheaven. Are you leading a team or anything?
I am, yeah. I'm the lead.
Okay, yeah. So that's good for you. And then let's see. Let me look at your solar return. So when we have a birthday, when the sun comes back to the same place it was at the moment of our birth, we can pull the chart of that, and that can tell us a lot about like what's going on, what's in focus for this year. Were you in Sacramento for your birthday?
No, in Oakland.
Oh, I live in Oakland. Okay. So your solar term was on August 19th. It shows a Virgo rising and the sun in the 11th house. So think about, one thing I wanted you to think about is like healing old wounds from relationships of the past. And think about making sure you spend time with friends or groups or something like that for this year. It also can be about gains from the work you do can come in this year with the sun in the 11th house. And yeah, there can be some changes around finances, even possibly like an unexpected things to come in from finances, but there will be emotionally some dealing with your family foundations and things like that during this year, I would expect. And I don't know, like therapy might be a good thing as well to like make some changes, release some shadows, work on some healing on how you relate to others and yeah. And letting go of things from past relationships, I think would be some things to think about this year. But I love the sun in the 11th is the house of hopes and dreams. So really think about, what do you really want for the future? Visioning the future is something that's really good for you to be doing. And
great.
Full moon. Yeah, something nice could come from someone with Jupiter opposite your sun, or you can feel like everyone else is lucky, not you. Can be one of those things that you can, when there's an opposition and you have your sun natally opposite Jupiter, it can be like thinking good things come to others, but your moon's on Jupiter. So emotionally, oh, I've got the full moon in the, Jesus Christ, sorry about that.
No problem.
You've got your, oh, that's the solar return. I'm losing it.
You've been talking nonstop for about 2 hours, so
I think I'm starting to lose it. Yes, I am. Yeah, but think about that. Think about, think about where you've been abundant in your own life. Think about the good things in your life. Think about your work. Are you satisfied with the job you have? Or are there changes you want to make, because you have Uranus in your 10th house, which can also correlate with, some changes in career. So yeah, those are some things maybe to think about. And, again, your values, what do you value? Get clear around your values. It's something you could do with this full moon, but who knows, something unexpectedly nice might happen. And it may be something really small, but Jupiter tends to bring abundance.
I welcome that. Thanks, Celeste.
You're welcome. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I hope this year brings you all the good that you want from it. Okay, let me do, I could do 2 more and then I have to go because I'm losing it. So I already did Christine, I think, right? Christine? So Rowena is next on the lineup.
Oh, hello.
Oh, Christine, did I not do you yet?
No, you did not.
Okay, I'll do Christine, then Rowena.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. And then we will call it a day. There is another event on next Saturday where I'm going to really focus on talking about the midheaven in the moon and, emotionally connecting to how we meet the world, and then do some chart hot takes. So the lecture, I think, will be shorter, and then hopefully I'll do more hot takes. So you can sign up for that if I really am losing it. Okay. Let's see. Christine, so you can sign up for next Saturday if you like. What time? What's your birthday?
12/16/86. 6:25 p.m. And I will spell it WAUSAU, Wisconsin.
How do you say that?
Wausau.
Oh, okay. All righty. Okay. Just check. December 16th, 1986?
Yep.
25 p.m. Okay. I love this. So you're a Sagittarius sun with Uranus right next to your sun. So it gives you kind of like an Aquarian feel. Do you feel that?
I feel like I haven't been able to focus a whole lot lately. That's for sure.
Well, Uranus stationing, not being able to focus. You have Uranus right on your sun. So whenever Uranus is doing anything, it probably impacts you more than others because it's deeply connected to like who you are, your vitality, your identity. So these Saturn-Uranus squares have probably been a big deal for you. Have you figured out what you're called to release in terms of?
Yes and no. I think it's been a little cloudy. I've definitely been feeling a lot of the energy, but I just can't put my finger on exactly what it is that needs to let go. And definitely just been a lot of, I think, relationship dynamics going on. And with that, you don't know which way to go with them. So.
Well, Uranus is opposite your Venus in Taurus. So you can feel like your partner is doing unexpected things, or like shocks are coming in from outside of yourself around your relationships can be something when you have Uranus opposite Venus, or awakenings around how you partner with others, or your romantic relationships, as well as friendships. Venus is about friendships as well. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot going on. And in December, on December 14th last year, there was a solar eclipse at 23 Sag, so right next to right between your sun and your Uranus. Did anything big like come into your daily life or work?
Last year?
Yeah.
Not that I can remember. I mean, just family dynamics have been pretty all over the board since probably around, I mean, before that time, but I mean, they kind of blew up around the holidays then, so.
So mark down September 13th.
Okay.
There's going to be a first quarter moon at 21 Sag, and that could illuminate something, or something may need to be adjusted around this stuff related to that eclipse. So that was the new moon was last December, the first quarter moon's September 13th, and something may become clear to you then that needs some kind of adjustment. So maybe you'll get your clarity then.
Am I going into a Uranus transit?
It's in your 11th house. It's in a sextile to your Mars. So there's a real opportunity for, you may get an unexpected opportunity to expand in some way, like it could be like a trip somewhere, or something creatively, like a friend may come up with something unexpectedly that helps you take action to expand yourself. So that's actually a nice thing, it's a support with the sextile. Uranus is moving back to directly oppose your Venus. So yes, you're going to have another 2 hits of that. And, things may become clear. It's what's called quincunx, your natal Saturn in the 5th. Saturn and Sag. The quincunxes can sometimes symbolize something with health, so take good care of your hips. Sagittarius. Okay. Sagittarius rules hips. Do a lot of stretching.
All right. That sounds good.
Yeah. So no big squares or anything, because you don't have anything in, or conjunction. You don't have anything in Taurus. You have just your Venus and Pluto. Venus, Pluto, probably a lot of Pluto's where we get burned alive in life. So do you feel like in relationships there can be a lot of extremes in your relationships?
I just feel like more recently as a Sagittarius, sometimes I think everybody knows me that I speak my mind, but it seems like people are just more easily offended, but I think everybody is these days. So, it's just kind of the feeling of, is it me? Did I say something? Or, because I've always been who I am and, without hurt intentions, but are people taking things the wrong way? Or I don't know, like, do I need to change myself or be myself kind of thing?
Well, a Sagittarius is blunt talking. So
yes,
that's part of your nature. And the sun is going to be going into your 3rd house of communication. So maybe I'm going to pull an oracle card for you about what do you need to know about your communication style with others based on that question and your next best action.
Yeah, because I don't want to make anybody mad.
Let me see. Yeah, it's not your intention, but sometimes these things happen. Okay. I pulled clean it up. So think about what you said that they need a sorry. The next,
All right.
okay, deep knowing. Okay, so you know internally when you're saying some Sagittarius stuff that has got people in their feelings, and that when you've got all that fire in your chart of Sagittarius being a fire sign, just knowing when to say sorry. Like people love having you around because you're so fun and probably a great storyteller and truth telling, but yeah, maybe a softer approach could be called for.
All right, great, thanks. I'll definitely reel it back a little bit.
Okay. Okay, Rowena, you are last but not least for today.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, good. Let me see. Okay, is this you, November 20th?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So you've got all this Scorpio energy as well. And you've got Uranus. It's not quite there. It's not going to happen until next year, but it's going to oppose your moon in the, excuse me, oppose your Mercury in the 12th house. But it's also like your ascendant. So are you really feeling that like live wire energy?
A little bit, but I think a part of me at the moment is just plodding along.
Okay.
You know, like, there's not really anything particularly happening, but I'm a bit nervous about what's around the corner.
Well, I mean, Uranus has been in your 6th house for almost 3 years.
Mhm.
So you probably feel really comfortable with that energy, but when it crosses your descendant next year, so it's really good time. Are you married?
Yes.
Really good time to like fortify your relationship, have those courageous conversations so you can let go of old stuff. Because, and it may be something with your partner could have some big change, your husband or whatever, when it crosses the descendant next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell you approximately when that'll be. Well, let me look at it with, okay. So your moon's in the 3rd house, your progressed moon. So emotionally about communication or local issues or siblings are probably in focus for you right now. And let's see, Sun is in the house of how you expand in this world, or yeah, this is a good, really good full moon because it's in the same sign as your progressed moon, to really stay present for what you need to release about 3rd house topics. So it could be about, you know, if you have any issues around like focusing too much into the details or getting too into your anxious mind or things like that, it could be a good thing to release about that. If you have siblings, might be nice to just reach out and have a nice conversation with them or something.
Okay. I don't have any siblings, but I do have 3 kids. So I don't know if I have to.
Okay. And let me see if I see anything else. Yeah, activity at work could be, you could get clear about something with your work. It's a possibility, but let's do the months. Let's see when Uranus is hitting your descendant. Okay. So it's going to be next summer, so you have time.
Okay.
But yeah, when it hits your descendant, it'll be sometime next summer.
Okay.
So it could be like some kind of awakening. It could be like something unexpected. The sun's in the 8th house around then. It could be an unexpected inheritance or something. I don't know. There's a lot. With Uranus, expecting the unexpected is the call of Uranus, and you just don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, especially with this whole pandemic and like being locked up with your family for a year and a half, one of the things I suggested was even like a renewing your vows kind of thing, where you talk about, courageously talk out some stuff. So get it off. Don't let things simmer. Like just deal with them.
Okay.
And I'll pull a card for you too, what you need to know around this topic. Uranus and your descendant. So I pulled the milk and honey and protection. So this is the self-care card. So I really want you to take, really work on making sure you're getting enough sleep and all kind of stuff, taking care of yourself, and
Okay.
doing that sort of stuff, because actually I'm going to read this to you because I think it has an important message for you somewhere in your life. Okay. It can be a nameless unease compels you to turn to pleasure and comfort as a mean to escape what's really going on. I mean, that's so Uranus and Taurus. I can't even with it. Okay. It works in the moment, but only fleetingly before the feelings return and you need to re-up until you're exhausted, feeling worse than before. You may continue struggling, or you may see the light and choose to surrender to spirit. Now is the time for practicing extreme self-care. If you can, do so before you engage in behaviors you'll later regret. You are so loved, so cared for. Feel love and compassion for yourself. Turn your troubles over to the divine for healing. So that's the message. So sit with that, and hopefully that brings some clarity to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Great. Well, thank you everyone for coming. Hi, Donna. I see you there, and Meg, and everyone in Burroughs. It's so nice to see new people and see people I know. Natalie's. Yes, Natalie. You can just go to Hey Hero and search for Astrology by Celeste and do it there. I haven't been really advertising it just because I've got so much going on, but I'm still on Hey Hero. Yeah. Yeah, so nice. Okay. Oh, Amanda asked why not about something. I don't know. Amanda, did you have a question? Or I think she's gone. Okay. Anyway, I hope to see you at the next event. Have a happy new moon. Get out and see the beautiful moon and try to feel some of that joy and abundance even through difficult times. So
thank you.